in the future, and when I think about the vision of the company, I also could see multiple brands in the Kickstarter universe, right? Right now we have Kickstarter and we have the Creative Independent, which is like our media company. But I definitely could see ourselves having multiple brands or multiple business lines that are helping creatives and entrepreneurs, fueling the creator economy. We just talked before about like strong, engaged niche communities, right? Like, so having like, what if Kickstarter has more of a social network feel in some ways, where it's a lot easier for creators to raise money on the platform, even without an audience, because we have supreme tastemaking and matchmaking, and people are building community on the platform itself.
Hey everyone, welcome to the LaunchBoom podcast. LaunchBoom is an organization that's helped founders test and launch their products, raising over $100 million on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I'm your host, Kevin Liang. Typically, this is a podcast where I interview guests exploring their founder stories, product launches, and systems they've built to get to where they are today. However, today we have something a little bit different for you. This is an interview with Everette Taylor, the CEO of Kickstarter. He is interviewed by Mark Pecota, our CEO of LaunchBoom, at the Crowdfunded Summit. The Crowdfunded Summit is a biannual event where LaunchBoom brings together all the innovators and thought leaders from the crowdfunding industry to share everything we know. If you are interested in attending the next Crowdfunded Summit, it's in September of 2023. You can sign up at launchboom.com/newsletter to see when the next event is and the details as it comes up. The event is free to attend. So who is Everette Taylor? In addition to being the CEO of Kickstarter, Everette is also an entrepreneur passionate about arts, supporting creators, and helping people bring their dreams to reality. He is experienced in building and growing successful businesses as a CEO, chief marketing officer, and as a founder himself. Before joining Kickstarter, Everette was the chief marketing officer of Artsy, the largest online marketplace for buying and selling fine art. During his time at Artsy, he was recognized by Business Insider as one of the world's most innovative CMOs and named by Forbes as one of the world's most influential CMOs because of record revenue growth, brand awareness, user engagement, and product innovation during his tenure. Everette also serves on the Chisenhale Council for Chisenhale Gallery and sits on the advisory board for the organization Art at a Time Like This. Please enjoy this conversation with Everette Taylor. So this is our first keynote session of Crowdfunded Summit 2023. We're definitely starting off with a bang with Everette Taylor. And, he may not need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways. And we're going to go into a Q&A that will be led by me first, but don't worry, everyone. We're also going to give you the chance to ask your questions for Everette as well. So we'll save some time for that at the end. But diving in, so Everette Taylor, he is currently the CEO of Kickstarter. He's also a creative entrepreneur who's passionate about art, supporting creators, and making creativity accessible to all. Deeply experienced in building and growing successful businesses as a founder, CEO, and chief marketing officer. So before he actually joined Kickstarter, which was back in September last year, he was serving as a CMO of Artsy, which is the world's leading marketplace for buying and selling fine art. During his time there, he was recognized on the Forbes entrepreneurial CMO list and named by Forbes as one of the world's most influential CMOs. Previously, Everette founded ET Enterprises in 2013, overseeing a diverse portfolio of companies that include ArtX and Growth Hackers, and serving as CEO of Millicents and Pop Social. Everette serves on the Chisenhale Council for Chisenhale Gallery, a nonprofit that supports artists making innovative and highly ambitious work. Additionally, he sits on the advisory board for Art at a Time Like This, which works with artists and curators to create art that responds to current social and political events, presents it in public spaces. So by that introduction, it's pretty clear that Everette is a very interesting person, comes from a diverse background, and is now the CEO of Kickstarter. So we're very honored to have him up here today, with Kickstarter being one of the leading crowdfunding platforms in the world. So Everette, you joined Kickstarter back in September. It's been 9 months now that you've been in the role.
But looking at your transition from CMO to CEO, it's actually a pretty uncommon path. Just curious, like what different strengths do you think you bring to the table as CEO because you came, from this path that many people do not take?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was speaking to Stuart Butterfield, who started Slack, and his wife, Jen Rubio, started Away. And one of the funny things that they mentioned was that, a lot of the best CEOs are marketers, right? They might not consider themselves marketers, but they are marketers. I remember hearing Steve Jobs like be upset, like not like marketing. And I'm like, Steve Jobs was 1000% a marketer. And I think, when you come from a marketing mindset and background, you're just like radically empathetic about, users and customers. Mark, we've had plenty of conversations about this. And this is something that I've been, really adamant about coming in, is just really showing empathy to our users and customers, and understanding the importance of listening. When I came to Kickstarter, I was like, we haven't done this or that. Like there was just like simple things, whether it was like the metapixel or whatever. I'm like, what the hell? Like, let's do this right now. Like, if we're just actively listening to people and giving them the things that they want, and allowing them to be more successful on the platform, like I'm completely all about that. And I think marketers tend to come from that same mindset. I think storytelling is a huge piece of that too. Like we have so many incredible stories from Kickstarter. And one of the things that I really, really want to do is be able to give a platform and do a lot better job of telling the incredible stories of all the different creators and their backgrounds on the platform. And I think lastly, just like understanding the importance of brand. Like, let's be honest, like crowdfunding is like not hot right now. Like it's not what it was years ago, even though we have all of these amazing creators and people still creating and doing these incredible things from the global ecosystem. And when you look at crowdfunding, the industry is actually shrinking in a lot of ways. And so for me, when I look at that, I'm like, man, we got to put fuel to the fire, and we really have to grow this industry. And we really have to do something that is going to really change the game for the industry, and open up the space to more creators and more backers. And so when I think about brand, and I think about the opportunity that we have there, there was a time and point when you ask people, most people would tell you, oh yeah, I know Kickstarter, or yeah, I know Indiegogo. And now more and more you ask people, and I ask people, and I'm like, hey, have you ever heard of Kickstarter? And I'm like, sounds kind of familiar. And then I'll say, hey, have you heard of GoFundMe? And it's like, oh yeah, I've heard of GoFundMe. And it's been this interesting change in which I think GoFundMe and that charity-based crowdfunding has become more of the central theme of how people think about crowdfunding. And we need to take that back. I think, creative crowdfunding, reward-based crowdfunding is the best type of crowdfunding. Like it makes me feel good. It makes a lot of other people feel good. And so for me, I just, coming from a marketing background, it's like, it's important for me to put an emphasis on growing this industry.
Love that. Yeah, just a fun story. Like when Everette first got, or the announcement came out that you joined Kickstarter as the CEO, I don't know if you remember this, but I reached out on Instagram back then. I was like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to Everette through Instagram, and actually you didn't respond to my first DM, but it was after you. Speaking of empathy, you actually went in and added the metapixel onto Kickstarter, and I posted about that on LinkedIn, and then you saw that. And you're like, oh, then you posted that in the message on Instagram. You're like, yo, just saw this. But I thought that was great in terms of right when you came in, you immediately saw things that people were asking for in this case, for years, and really listened to the creators. And, it's been 9 months now, and already a lot has changed, and you've had the updates going out every month, I believe, right?
It's only been 7 months,
7 months. Oh yeah.
Just hit 7 months, but we've been having a really great time, man.
That's awesome. So, I mean, speaking to how crowdfunding has changed, you talk about, people maybe not knowing about Kickstarter, and things have changed from how it was maybe like years back. What are you doing to change that perception around crowdfunding? Maybe not just perception, but also just awareness of crowdfunding for the world.
Yeah, it's changing. Trust me, I've seen the data, I've seen the numbers, and it has remained stagnant at best for creative crowdfunding when you look at the type of money that's been raised. I think there was like kind of this peak. If you look at the data, there was this peak between like 2015, 2019 of where crowdfunding, when you look at the Indiegogos and Kickstarters and all of that of the world, kind of hit these peaks. And then there was like this like temporary peak of like the pandemic where everyone's numbers went up temporarily, and then it's kind of dropped back to those kind of pre-pandemic levels. And so when I say it's shrinking, it's look, inflation is a real thing. So if you're doing the same numbers or the same amount of projects as you were doing in 2017, 2018, that industry is shrinking. And so for me, it's like, I'm ambitious. I'm ready to grow this thing, and I'm ready to push things forward. And some of you may have seen, like, I just hired the former global head of brand at Twitter. Like, Kickstarter never got that type of marketing talent or brand talent before. Also, putting a focus on digital marketing and making sure that we're expanding the pie and bringing new people and giving that support to creators is extremely important to me. But I think, I've made the sacrifices, man. Like, I'm always traveling. You see it, Mark. I'm always traveling, speaking here, speaking there, doing this interview, doing that interview, going to this event. Like, I just want to get ourselves back out there. And, one of the things that I heard from a lot of creators before I got to Kickstarter, like, they didn't really see any positive press or positive news, around the Kickstarters and Indiegogos of the world. And it was really, really important for me to get ourselves back out there. And now I'm strategically working with the team about how we can come back and revitalize the brand and really create the new generation of Kickstarter creators. There's a lot of Gen Z creators that aren't using the platform or familiar with the platform. There's a lot of creators that use us in the past and haven't came back. And we're a new and improved platform, and we're quickly improving. And so for me, it's just like expanding that pie. There's certain categories like fashion and things like that I think we could do a lot better in. I saw someone already ask a question about manga. Like, that's a huge category that we're starting to invest, and we're going to Tokyo and doing those things. So there's just a lot more opportunity to reach creators in all different aspects, but also making sure that we're bringing our end of the bargain by actually bringing backers onto the platform and a new generation of backers onto the platform that's highly engaged to help creators.
Right. I mean, speaking to how you've been putting yourself out there and in all types of interviews and talking about this, vision that you have for Kickstarter, you mentioned in a TechCrunch interview that the dream of crowdfunding is that it can become a platform that allows anyone to make their dreams come true. Just, can you speak more to that? Like, how do you feel like, how is Kickstarter going to do that? Like, what is the plan around that to allow it to be more open to everyone?
Yeah. First and foremost is, look, I'm a Black man at the helm of this company. I want to create a company that's diverse internally and externally, and is supporting people from all different backgrounds, whether you're in the military, or you're from rural Arkansas, or you're from an obscure place in Europe. Like, I want to make sure that we're creating a product where anybody on the platform can be successful. Right now it's like, hey, if you have a large audience and a lot of money, the chances of you being successful is way higher. I want to create a platform that no matter who you are, if you have a great idea, it's the idea of the idea. Like, if you have a great idea, you should be able to be successful on our platform, no matter how much money you come from or don't come from, no matter how big your audience is or not. There's a lot of different things that we can do to make sure that our creators are more successful. Like, number one is like better audience development. Like, we have to build and develop this audience around crowdfunding and backers. Like, you creators are doing creating incredible things, and you guys are bringing, you know, a large subset of your audience, or you're using platforms like you guys to like kind of cultivate that audience. But like, we want to make sure that we bring our end of the bargain and really bring a really large and engaged backer network. And I want to like emphasize engaged. Like, you know, you talk to most people and you ask them, hey, like, have you ever you know, backed the Kickstarter project? And they're like, oh, you know, my cousin Tony 3 years ago did this e-bike, and like, but they haven't, you know, backed the Kickstarter since. Like, I want to be able to create a platform and a sticky enough product that people are like, hey, this is something that I want to continuously go to, because Kickstarter is the place where if I want to find out what's new and what is the like most incredible, cool things in the niches that I care about, I'm going to go to Kickstarter. So we've done a great job of building a platform, which is great to, you know, to utilize audiences that have already been built or help being built through digital marketing. But I want to be able to bring the audience to people. We can do a better job of matchmaking and tastemaking, like, you know, helping people find the things that they like and things like that on the platform, better matchmaking, better like life cycle marketing. Like, I want Kickstarter to tell me every day, every week, like the projects that I'm going to be most likely interested in. If I'm from New Orleans, let me know when there's a New Orleans project. If I'm into food projects, let me know when there's a cool new food project. Like, we need to be able to do that, and we don't do a good job of that. And what I was just talking about before, revitalizing the brand and growing the industry, that's going to be a huge part of getting Kickstarter and crowdfunding back in the minds of people. And the last part is like what we talked about earlier, Mark, is giving better tools for creators to be successful. Like, right. It's really as simple as that. Like, you know, we've already started that path, but I'm sure you have a huge wish list of other things that we could do for creators. And so we really focus on like continuing to build products that are going to help creators be more successful. And on the flip side, like, bring more and more backers where you're like, hey, if I start a Kickstarter project, half of my project is going to be funded because Kickstarter has a super engaged audience. Like, I did the same thing at Artsy, man. We had people that would just go on there and research when they were specifically searching for an art piece. And then we created a sticky enough product and content features and all of that that made people, and the matchmaking and the personalization that made people want to visit more and more. So what did they do? They bought more art. What I want backers to do is back more projects. And I think there's people that want to do that. We just don't have that flywheel going right now.
Right. And by the way, like, I really do, when you talk about creating these tools for product creators, and that is like such a huge focus for the company, like, I see it as well. So I just want everyone to know, it's like in the 7 months, you know, you've been here, there's already been a lot of change and a lot of energy being brought to the space, which is awesome to see. When you talk about, I want to zoom in on the almost like the backer retention, like the backer audience issue or opportunity that you're speaking to. First off, why do you think, you know, it has been a challenge to have like repeat backers, you know, and building that audience? And then how do you want to change that? And like, how is Kickstarter going to be involved in that?
Yeah, first is the brand part, right? Is that when you as a creator bring somebody in, people are coming because they love your product or they love you as a person or someone from your team. Is the loyalty to Kickstarter the brand? Again, like I said, we've done a great job. And listen, we have the largest backer network. We are the best. I will stand by that. But at the same time, even though we have the largest backer network and I feel like we're the best, the amount of improvement we have to actually engage that large network of backers is like we have so much potential there, right? And so making sure that those people that come for that person be able to be hooked as a user. And we haven't been able to do that from a product standpoint. Like, there's nothing that pulls you back into Kickstarter, right? There's nothing that like makes you want to engage. Like, after you support your friend's project or you see this digital marketing ad, what's pulling you back into the platform? And also, we built really great brand loyalty with creators. We have not built great brand loyalty with backers themselves. Like, we have the feelings that you know creators have for Kickstarter isn't what backers have for Kickstarter, and that is where the real opportunity is. And so that's going to be, you know, building a stickier product. That's going to be doing better lifecycle marketing, which is email. That's, you know, push notifications. yo, the app could be so much better. Like, I'm so disappointed with our app. Like, I'm like, yo, we gotta make this better. And so like what drives me crazy at Kickstarter is like I have like a bazillion things that I want to do and change and create. And we're only 100 people. I thought Kickstarter was like thousands of people and like a multi-billion-dollar company. Man, there's so many companies that have started on Kickstarter that are bigger than Kickstarter. And so what I'm trying to do is utilize the resources as best as possible. And one of the reasons why, you know, we're doing pledge management and digital marketing, not only is it going to help our creators as well as our backers, but it also is going to drive more revenue for us to reinvest back in the business. Because honestly, 5% take rate is a very shitty model. Like, you can't really grow because you don't have, you know, these companies have 20, 30, 40% take rates in different marketplaces. When you only have a 5% take rate, you can only invest so much in the business. And I think all of those things contribute. You know, you can't have as big of a marketing budget. You can't have as big as product and engineering team. So all of those kind of contribute to that backer retention and engagement.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, I've always felt that part of the challenge when it comes to backer engagement or backer retention is, you know, it's a lot of the responsibility, I would say, or more of the responsibility or fault may fall on the actual creator themselves, who doesn't deliver what they say or doesn't deliver at all. You know, that happens and is outside of Kickstarter's control to a certain extent. So my question, well, first, like, I guess, do you agree with that? But second would be, to what extent does Kickstarter want to be involved in the process of bringing the product to life? You know what I mean? I guess like that even speaks to the vision that you have and what you guys are trying to create.
Yeah, I mean, I could just like literally talk about the vision because, you know, that's a huge part of it. Like, we like, you know, it's a circle, right? I think Rob Schneider has a funny thing on the Adam Sandler. It's a circle, you know, like it's a circle in terms of like what it takes to crowdfund a project. And so when I look at the circle, right, I look at this first part of the circle, which is pre-launch, ideation, figuring out, getting your idea together, all these things that happen before you even launch on Kickstarter, right? A lot of the things that you guys are helping people out with, right? Like there's all this stuff that's helping and supporting creators. And that's why I want to have a better relationship with LaunchBoom and the things that you all are doing, because I think it's important for us to support creators in that process. And then there's the Kickstarter part, and then which is part of the circle. And then there's this whole other end of the circle of post campaign, right? And so we're only touching one, you know, small piece of that. And there's so much that happens, you know, with pre-launch and post-launch. And I think there's so much we can do to support people and create the flywheel of like creating, kickstarting, post-campaign, creating again, and doing it over and over and over and over again, and creating that flywheel of success, which I think we could do a better job at. And so, you know, when I think about my vision for the company, is like also having fully fleshed out business lines at scale with pledge management and digital marketing. With pledge management and digital marketing, is going to really kind of fill that circle a little bit more pre-launch and post-launch for a lot of different creators, as well as help them be a lot more successful. And what I'm hoping with digital marketing one day that we can do is like not only have that white glove kind of service for creators, but also be able to do it at scale for smaller creators as well. And that's something that's really, really important for me. You were going to say something?
No, I was saying that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. And I have a few other things. Sorry to
keep going.
But in the future, and when I think about the vision of the company, I also could see multiple brands in the Kickstarter universe, right? Right now we have Kickstarter and we have the Creative Independent, which is like our media company. But I definitely could see ourselves having multiple brands or multiple business lines that are helping creatives and entrepreneurs, fueling the creator economy. We just talked before about like strong, engaged niche communities, right? Like, so having like, what if Kickstarter has more of a social network feel in some ways, where it's a lot easier for creators to raise money on the platform, even without an audience, because we have supreme tastemaking and matchmaking, and people are building community on the platform itself. We're building community on, so like you guys as creators are bringing people to the platform, but I really want to see a vision of a Kickstarter that is like, hey, people are engaged, and like this is part of their identity. Like you can go and look and say, oh man, they've backed this and backed that, et cetera, et cetera. You see it with comics creators. A lot of the backers that are comics creators are creators themselves, because they know to get the cred in the community, they also have to back and support projects. And that's something that's really, really important. So I'm not trying to build Instagram or LinkedIn or anything, but like, I do want to have like more of this social component on the platform where communities can really, really thrive. And a point that you just pointed out, man, we need to make large investments in fulfillment. Like we just have to. We have to help creators. Like fulfilling is so difficult, man. And like, the more support and the more product features and the more things that we can do to help these creators, it makes me sick to my stomach when I see backers call hardworking entrepreneurs scammers or people that you know are trying to take advantage of backers when they have no idea what it's like to be in the position as a creator and an entrepreneur, and you're working day and night with every fiber of your being trying to fulfill and make this thing possible, and shipping rates increase, or this thing happens, or that thing happens. And so I want to create a platform and features that are really going to support our creators to help them really fulfill those, you know, to do fulfillment. But at the same time, for those that are actually scamming and like making you know, these hardworking creators and entrepreneurs look bad, like I want to create product features that put them, give them the scarlet letter, like, yo, you can't be here anymore. Like we are taking legal action against those people. I want to show our backers that, hey, we are actually taking action against these people so that our other creators aren't impacted by the negative things that people who are scamming on the platform is doing. And the last couple of things is like, I want Kickstarter to be more of a household name. I want it to be synonymous with making dreams come true. I want it to be synonymous that when you have a new idea and you drinking a couple brews with the homies and it's like, yo, bro, you should put that on Kickstarter. Like that doesn't happen right now. Like I want that to happen. I want that to be top of mind for people. I want it to be the preferred method for filmmakers who don't want to go through studios. I want independent musicians not feeling like they have to rely on record labels, you know, all of the tech entrepreneurs and product creators not relying on VCs, venture capitalists that are going to like take 50% of your company for very little money. Like, fuck that. Like, I want people to know that Kickstarter is a route for them. You know, I want us to become the go-to for all of the entrepreneurs and the creators that are out there. And that's so important. And I think right now that's not the case. I don't think people see that as an option for them. And that's what makes this community so great, is that you guys had the foresight to see that that's an option for you, but we have to make sure that it's an option for everybody and people see that. And at the end of the day, I want us to be more culturally relevant, a lot more profitable so we can reinvest back in this industry, and a lot more impactful. We have to innovate on what we know crowdfunding as today, and we have to expand globally. I want any creator, no matter where you are in the world, whether you're in Africa or the most obscure part in the world, like we have to be able to be global in any part of the world that a creator can be able to utilize our platform. So for me, there's a ton of different things, and sorry that I spoke so much, man, but like, I'm so passionate about this, man. Like we owe it. Kickstarter owes it to be the leader in this space to really innovate and grow this thing.
I will say, I think on behalf of everyone, no need to apologize. What do you guys think of Everette's vision? Do you think it's good? Yes or no? Put in chat. Yeah, I think people are into it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Honestly, let's go. Love the passion. I mean, I said at the beginning, it's like, it was pretty clear when you first joined Kickstarter that you were bringing a whole new energy to the crowdfunding space that like hadn't been here for years. and almost didn't even realize it was missing until you came in. So excited about that. So you talked big vision. What about like kind of bringing it back a little bit to even like the next, like the rest of this year? Like, what are some of the big things that Kickstarter is trying to accomplish?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think, really trying to focus on these new business lines, right? Which is super important for us in the near
Business lines
term.
being like the pledge manager, like
Yes.
digital marketing.
Pledge management, digital marketing, all of those things are going to be like super, it's going to be super important for us. Like we need to focus there. Like we need to kill it there, right? It's standing up these new business lines is really important for me. Number two would be like giving creators the features they've been asking for and continuing to actively listen to our users. So like, stay tuned. We're continuously working. We're trying to delight you. We're going as fast as we possibly can. Like, it's tough. We got a lot of legacy code. I don't know if we have any developers out there. We have a lot of legacy code. We're moving as fast as possible. I wish I had 500 engineers to just crank out cool new products all the time, but we're doing our best to really do that. Also, man, taking the talent level up. Like, you see our new head of arts, you see our new head of brand, you see our new head of comms. We got some more talent coming, man. Like, I'm trying to bring world-class people into the mix. For a long time, Kickstarter didn't get the top of the top talent, and I'm changing that. And I'm trying to be a harbinger of like the top talent in tech and cultural categories and things like that coming to Kickstarter. So that's something that I'm really, really, really focused on this year, and also making us more diverse internally and externally. Like, I see a lot of ways that we can be a lot more diverse internally on the team, but also helping more diverse people come onto the platform from not only the creator standpoint, but also the backer standpoint as well. And one of the other things that I'm really focused on this year is getting traction for forward funds. And so if you guys don't know what forward funds is, it's a program to bring capital from the outside to give to creators on the platform, right? So a lot of the focus has been on like the arts and film, but I want to get forward funds from Google. I want to get forward funds from tech companies and product related companies that can help fund projects, especially for small creators that might be struggling on the platform. I really want people to just have better experiences, man. Like, that's really the focus for me, whether it's building these creative projects, these creator tools that is going to help people more this year, or it's going to be bringing in the right talent or doing the right things. Like, I just want to make sure that people are being more successful on the platform, man. That's like my number one focus. And all that stuff that I said on the vision, dude, we're working on that. Like, we're like, it might take us a couple years, but like, man, we're moving towards that. And I'm really passionate about that. And I got some stuff up my sleeve. I can't wait for you guys to see what the rest of this year is going to look like. I got some surprises for you.
Let's go. Excited. Yeah. Everyone, make sure that you sign up for their, what do you guys call them? Project updates, I think it's what it's called. Every month, right?
Yep.
Every month. Yeah.
Oh, so, every month. We try to do every month, but
somewhere around there. Yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of things coming. I'm sure if you guys sign up for that, you will see all the updates. So a lot to get excited about. So, being an entrepreneur yourself, and you've dealt with the same things that creators that are on this call deal with, mainly around like the long hours and trying to find balance of life. And you've spoken about this in interviews, even talked about how, it gets to breaking points where you don't really even feel like you're living your life. So what advice would you give to entrepreneurs, product creators that are, bootstrapping, bringing their product idea to life and trying to find some type of balance at the same time?
Yeah, man, you really only have one life to live. Like, trust me, I'm working 7 days a week for you all. Like, I'm so passionate about that and supporting you all. But also, I have the most balance I've ever had in my life. I am so happy. Not only am I happy because I'm working at the coolest company in the world, in my opinion, and maybe I'm a little bit biased, but also at the same time, I'm making time for myself, and I'm taking care of myself, and I'm working smarter, not harder. And a lot of times it's like when you're working those long hours, you're working long hours because you're exhausted and you're not able to think as clearly and you're kind of pushing yourself. And so for me, like the best advice I can give is like, there's one life to live. Like, yes, I want you all to have multi-million-dollar campaigns and build and scale and do all of these things, but like none of that money and impact is worth it if you're not okay. Like, please take care of yourself. Like, I'm hoping that we can actually one day give resources to, like, I want to start a foundation within Kickstarter. Like, I want to be able to, give, that's the whole point of the creative independent, is like the brand is to give people resources and inspiration. Like, I want to expand that. Like, I hope that we can do more programming and different things to support people when it comes to mental health and the grind of entrepreneurship and all those things. Like, man, it's really tough. Trust me. I've been there. I lived out of a car. I've been homeless. I shared a studio apartment with another person. Like, I've been there. The long nights, all of that stuff, like gaining weight, not eating healthy, not, missing my friends' birthdays and family and all of that stuff, man. Like, I'm telling you, it's honestly not worth it. You got to find that balance. Is so important.
You have relentless tattooed on you.
I don't. I actually don't. I saw that question. I actually don't. I used to have this bracelet that I wore every day, and I was playing basketball a couple years back, and it got snatched off, so I don't have it. But yeah, relentless is a very important word to me.
So regardless of if it's tattooed on you, bracelet's an important word to you. It's an important concept. How do you? It almost in some ways seems like it might clash with all like the balance and mental health topic that we're just talking about.
Yeah.
How do you think about like being relentless in your life and the importance of that, and also having this, balance and caring about your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, when I was really on that relentless, if you like, these are probably from older interviews because I was in a different space, man. Like, I was in a different space where like I was really like, embracing that grind culture, like grind, make things happen. And so the relentless nature that I had back then is different than what I have right now. Relentless back then was like making all these sacrifices, doing all these things, like not taking no for an answer, all of that, which is that's cool for a certain part of your life and career, but is not good for the long term. My relentlessness now is like, I'm not going to lose, man. Like, my relentlessness now is like, I am so hell bent on making impact and making a change. And like, I 100% believe in myself. I believe in my team. Like, is that saying there's another me there? That's weird. I believe in myself, and I believe in my team so much. And that's where my relentlessness comes from now. It's not from like, treating myself poorly. It's from like, yo, man, like, I'm gonna make Kickstarter the best company it can be. I'm gonna ignore the haters. I'm gonna ignore the competitors. Like, listen, you guys can do whatever you want to do. We're gonna be the best at what we do, and like, I'm gonna make damn sure we are. And so that's my focus, and that's my relentlessness at this point.
I love it. You were mentioning this earlier in this keynote that, just talking about how, we had COVID, the world has basically gone through this roller coaster, over the past, especially the past few years. I'd say mentally, socially, economically. Why do you think now is the time when product creators should be excited about crowdfunding?
Hey, man, things are shifting to alternative methods. Like we were talking about before, it's becoming more acceptable to not going to, someone mentioned Brandon Sanderson raising $42 million. Like, it's becoming more acceptable to publish your own books and do self-publishing. It's more acceptable now to like not go the VC route and do something differently. It's more acceptable to, be an independent artist or not work with a gallery, all these things. So to me, it's like culminating in this very special time where the world is changing and shifting. Like, and I want this world, like, for a long time, Kickstarter was looked at as the alternative. I want Kickstarter to be the primary way people are finding funding. I don't want people to be talking about it like, oh, well, I can't get venture capital, so I'm going to Kickstarter. No, I want people to go to Kickstarter because we're the best at funding your dream and your product. It's just not even about looking at, you know, anything else. And I think it's so beautiful with the creator economy growing and us being at the center of that. Man, I see these things about like Patreon and stuff. No diss, the Patreon being like the center of the creator economy. I'm like, yo, we give out 3-4 times the amount of money that Patreon gives out to creators every year. You know, like Kickstarter is the heart of the creator economy. And like, I think it's this time where, people are choosing not to do the 9-to-5 thing and wanting to chase their dreams. Or if they have a 9-to-5, like you might be working as a cashier at 7-Eleven, but also secretly like a top tabletops game creator. Like, you know, you can have that duality in your life and your career at this point, which is like really, really beautiful too. But more than anything, man, I'll say this. Kickstarter is turning a new leaf. I hope you all see it. We are committed to building a better product. We're committed to building a better service. We're committed to building a better brand. I promise you, we will not lose. This mission is too important. I am here. If you don't have faith in anything, have faith in me. I promise you, I will not let you down. We will build something really, really special here. So I appreciate, everybody here today too. I know we still got, more time to go, but like, you all being here is what gets me going and is what gets me pumped up and wanting to make sure that we have a better product and service for you all. And I want to see you all be successful. And so the fact that you all are here, I mean, that means the world to me. We're gonna really make some special things happen.
Love it. That's actually a great segue. Let's go into actually the Q&A from the audience. So there already have been a lot of questions that have been submitted. But if you guys want to submit your question, we'll try to get through as many as possible in this last 15 minutes. But use the Q&A function below, and we will dive in. So this one might be a quick one to answer. We'll see. But Donnie asks, can we expect to see a Magna category on Kickstarter somewhere in the near future?
Yeah, for manga, like we already sent our team out to Tokyo. We're already investing in that. That's something definitely a focus of ours. We're already starting to bring some big manga creators onto the platform, man. So please, Donnie, I appreciate you asking that. We're definitely gonna put a focus on manga for sure. And we got a new head of comics coming too, who's gonna be fire. So I'm excited for that.
I think someone said, can I be your test dummy? Is that in regards to that category? John Williams. All right, let's keep going. So this is a pretty specific question about from Tony Brown. What's the best way to fund a video game on PC? But there's been a lot of questions even in chat about, what your advice is in terms of funding a project. So anything that you can give specifically to this question or just in general, I think would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit I'm 7 months in. We've talked about this a lot, Mark. Like I will tell you what I'm an expert in, and I will tell you what I'm not an expert in. Like I'm still learning the best practices when it comes to crowdfunding. But what I do know when it comes to best way to fund anything, one of the things is like I talk about is, first of all, we have this all or nothing model, right? And so one of the things that you have to think about as a creator to be successful is like, what is your minimum viable amount that you need to hit, right? So you see all the time, especially with these games creators, they'll have like a $10,000 goal and then raise $1 million. And I want to see more people from DNT to think that way, where it's like, hey, what is like the minimum amount that I need to get this video game off the ground or this tech product off the ground, et cetera, which is really, really important. Number two, in terms of the best way to fund a video game on PC, like, listen, man, the video game community is so engaged on Twitter. It's insane. Like the video game community for PC and all of that is that crowdfunding community. If you look for them on Twitter, they are there. My best advice is like, get involved with that community, get engaged with that community, support other creators from that community, ask for advice from that community. And once you're engaged in that community, they're going to support you. And if you have a great idea. So to me, I think that's one of the best ways to fund a project is actually really throwing yourself into the community, Tony. Best of luck.
100%, 100%. Yeah, and Tony, we're also working with a few video game projects right now, and following the same exact system that we do for other type of consumer tech and design products. And if you want to learn more about especially advertising, I would recommend going to check out Justin Erikaki's talk tomorrow. He's one of Launchbeam team members on specifically the pre-launch, and we'll go into a lot more detail. All right, let's go to this one, special place in my heart. So Jose asks, any plans for making Kickstarter in South America, specifically Colombia?
I love Colombia. I've been all over Medellin, Bogota, Bucaramanga, Cartagena. Like, I love Colombia. We're working on something. It's going to be slow, and I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but one of the Cali has the best dancers, but it's something that I definitely want to put a focus on. We have a large roadmap, and so I'm trying to figure out ways where we can do this globally without having to launch market to market to market to market. And so that's something that I'm really, really focused on right now.
Yeah, and then, oh, go ahead, Everett. Sorry.
I was just saying, for the future, is something that we want to focus on.
And right now, if you're outside the country, or outside the accepted countries, and that has to do with the countries where you need to have a bank account is accepted, correct? There is something called Stripe Atlas, which could be an option for you if you're outside of those countries. So just go check that out if you are outside the countries of like accepted ones on Kickstarter, and you may still be able to launch. All right. We get this question a lot, so I think it's good to answer. So Garrett asks, what does Kickstarter look for to put a campaign onto projects we love, and do you have any advice for this group on the best ways to make that into a reality?
That's a really good question. I think this is really driven by like our outreach teams who are looking at the projects that are on the platform every day. I don't know the criteria specifically for what exactly that they're looking for, but they're going to look for things that they feel are really, really incredible projects. And one of the things that sucks about that, Garrett, is, and I'll be the first to say, and Mark, I keep it real, like the good and the bad about Kickstarter, that's all very much human, right? Like, it's like we're depending on a human to determine on whether or not this is good. And so one of the pieces of feedback that I will give is maybe a way for people to be able to submit for projects we love, or have a more standardized basis in which we judge those projects, because I do think it's currently unfair how it's set up, because I don't even know the format of it, man. And I see things all the time and I'm like, why is that a project we love and that's not a project we love? Like, I don't get it. And so just understand that I'm working on a lot of different things at Kickstarter. I'm trying to fix a lot of different things, but that's obviously one of them.
That's a great answer. I love that. Love the transparency as well, as always. All right, so this is a longer question, but I think it's really good. So Lucinda asks, I have created an innovative hair care brand mainly focused on a Black target audience. I'm hesitant to launch it through Kickstarter because I feel like Kickstarter usually focuses on tech and some other sectors. Plus, I wonder how well I will be able to reach my Black target audience. What would you advise me to do?
Yeah, number one, I think you could still do well. What I would do is have a conservative goal, though. Like, if you really want to raise 50,000, I would set your goal, let's say like 10,000 or 20,000 or something like that. Have a conservative goal and see what it is, and be able to utilize your platform and your audience. Like, if you've built an audience for yourself, like, I think you're going to be completely fine. I also think digital marketing would crush it. Like, really highly targeted digital marketing for a product like this, I think would absolutely crush it on the platform. So that would be my advice to you and Lucinda. If you do it, you definitely going to get my money. I'm definitely going to support you 110%, and you'll have my support. But I totally get it. I understand the hesitation and things like that. And, I see some projects that aren't as successful as I would like them to be. And, feel free to reach out to me individually. I want to be able to support you as much as we possibly can.
Awesome answer. Yeah. And I always like to point this out, is that, we as someone that works with clients to help them launch, like we're definitely judged by how much is raised on the campaign. But I always tell people, in the long run, typically how much is raised on the Kickstarter campaign is such a blip in the long-term view of the company. And we've had some of our most successful long-term clients raise what would be very modest amounts, in like low tens of thousands of dollars on the Kickstarter campaign to deliver a great product to and build a community, and then leverage that to continue to move on to e-commerce and build a company from there. So just because you spoke to having a lower goal amount, that doesn't always mean it's a bad thing to raise less than $1 million. Let's say you don't need to raise that much to still be a success. All right, let's go on to let's see. So this is another one around, I would say, diversity and equity in general. So Amalia asks, I love the idea of improving diversity and location-based product appeal. How soon do you think those type of features will roll out?
Yeah, I think you're going to start seeing it slowly come out over the course of the next year or so. Like it'll be like little things at first. But again, one of the things I'm trying to do is hire some more product teams and engineers so we can really do that. I think the first part is like really improving the matchmaking as it is today. And then we need to have better onboarding. Like we don't ask you really anything to like really find out what your tastes and the things that you're truly interested in when you come on a Kickstarter. So you'll see it slowly but surely. But I do think by the end of next year, you're going to see something like far, far, far better in terms of personalization in the product.
Awesome. All right. So Garrett asks, curious, given Kickstarter's slight decline in relevance, what would your rebuttal be for someone who says, why don't I just launch a crowdfunding campaign, but on my own website, I'll just take pre-orders, especially if you aren't a board game? Curious why Kickstarter would be a better option at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really, really great question, I think. Number one, first of all, like Kickstarter is always going to be a trusted platform. Like it has the brand recognition, it has that. Like I think that always adds to it. And number two, like, listen, if you have a great idea, like you're going to I think the average person on Kickstarter gets like 30% of their backings from the community, right? Like obviously that's lower or higher depending on the project, but that's still a substantial amount of people that can go and support your project. And that's not just board games, that's design and technology. That's a lot of different categories that people are getting extra, is getting that extra support on the platform. And I still think that's like extremely, extremely valuable, the audience that Kickstarter brings at this point. And also listen, like, when you're doing it on your own, you're on your own. Like you don't have the same product sets and features that Kickstarter is bringing. And trust me, we're bringing even more better stuff in the future, Garrett. Just you watch.
I know we're all excited. Yes, just a few other thoughts on that specific question, because we've gotten that question since we started Launch Boom. Why don't I just do this on my own platform? Like I don't want to pay Kickstarter's 5% fee even. And along with the things that Everette said, just a few other things I'll point out is that because Kickstarter is like an event where there is a limited time frame that people can actually get in on this, there actually is this increased urgency where you see a higher conversion rate on a Kickstarter launch versus if you launch on your own site. And I'm telling you that based off of, we've tried in the past to do pre-order product launches on other sites, and we see a better actual result from doing it on Kickstarter because of this built-in social proof. It's a limited time that they can actually get in on the project and get typically a discount or some type of exclusive Kickstarter reward. So all of those things combined actually make it a really great place to take pre-orders for your product. All right, this is a hot topic right now. Do you think AI could help streamline the process?
100,000%. I am so interested in utilizing AI, especially on the onboarding side and creating a project side. Like I want to see one day where like, hey, you can make inputs and this AI is actually advising you on like, hey, I think that goal is too high. Like we see with, your audience size, say you connect your Instagram, you connect your, put in your email list, and it can give you some predictive analytics around where your goals should be and things like that. And also giving you the best practices is really, really, really important. And we can't do that at scale, but we could do that at scale with AI. Like if we could train up AI to be like the best customer support person, giving someone best practices, 1010%, I think we should be able to do that.
Yeah, and if you all want to learn a little bit more about AI when it comes to helping you as like an assistant and a tool to help you build some of your deliverables when it comes to the copy, we actually have a whole talk on that tomorrow. Joe Papirini will be giving that talk, so go check that one out. All right. We just have a few more questions and we're going to wrap up here. They've been great. We have a lot of open questions as well. So sorry, we're not going to get through all of them. But let's get into one other thing. Sorry, guys, trying to look through. There's a lot of repeats on here. All right. Okay. Ifya asks, so you mentioned about creators having success independent of available funds. How is this realistically possible now before your strategies are implemented? Mark, myself, encourage paid Facebook advertising to build a community and have a successful launch, but what are some other more affordable ways to stand out?
I think one of the things that is like a nice little hack is if you go to Google Workspace, you can actually download all of the emails you've ever interacted with through Gmail and like actually start to create email lists. That's a little marketer hack for you guys. You can actually go and download all the emails that you ever interacted with, and you can go and see what are the people, like some of the people that are supporting you or all the people that you've interacted with, and be able to put that in the MailChimp or whatever email marketing service that you use, or be able to give it to Launchboom to be able to utilize. Obviously, you want to be careful with that because you want to make sure that it's people, it's people that are actually going to be supportive of you and not, report you or anything like that. But yeah, that's one little hack that you can have that's like really, cost efficient for you.
Yeah. We also, and I know we talk about Facebook advertising being the main driver, especially when it comes to building a pre-launch email list. But I did mention in my talk this morning that, we are seeing people that are doing essentially free, just their time building organic content through TikTok, for example. And it is there is a skill set needed for that. And it's not a silver bullet by any means, but it definitely can work. So there are definitely strategies where it comes more down to your ability to hustle and put in time that can actually be fruitful. All right, everyone. Well, we're actually going to wrap up right now. So very, very grateful that you came on. Everett, honestly, thanks for coming on. It was awesome. I think I don't feel like I'm exaggerating when I say that I'm speaking on behalf of everyone when we can feel your passion for what you're doing. And again, very grateful to have you up here and bringing more energy to the space when it comes to crowdfunding, which was very much needed.